Hey travelers, Mag and I here on day 156 of our trip around the United States. This morning, we're getting things started off from the Vendome and Flower Park here in the city of Sulphur. Today's route is relatively short. We have 225 miles to cover, slightly south of here, but primarily going to the west. Once we hit the city of Lawton, that is it for the night. Even if we get there before the sun goes down, which seems nigh impossible, we will not go any farther because we have something special planned for the following 2 days, and we cannot progress beyond Lawton because of that. The bulk of our targets for the day are right here in Sulphur. There are several interesting looking virtuals, earth caches, and other geological features that we want to go check out here. From here, it's mostly going to be county targets for the day, and most of those are going to be in the What Confused Clark Kent series. We did a few of those yesterday, and I immediately fell in love. All of them are at old phones. None of them so far have worked, but the fact that they are all at old phones gives me all the incentive I need to stop off, pick up that receiver, and listen for a dial tone. I think today is going to be a very casual, easy-paced geocaching day, and I think it's going to be a fun, scenic day. Plus, that sky is blue, so I know I'm not getting rained down on. It's going to be a good day. Come on, let's go check it out.
The city of Sulphur is the county seat of Murray County, featuring a population of right around 5,000 people. The area around the city has been well known for its mineral springs even before it was founded in the late 1800s. Native Americans residing in the area referred to it as the land of rippling waters, due to the mineral waters, streams, lakes, and swimming holes crisscrossing through the area.
While video can give you a fantastic visual sense of what's happening, it does absolutely nothing to convey the sense of smell coming out of the fountain here. It only takes one whiff to know exactly why this town is called Sulphur. And they have this neat little fountain coming right out next to it, clearly meant for drinking. And I cannot help but to wonder what the water tastes like with that smell of sulfur so strong in the air. But we are about to find out. Yep, hard-boiled eggs through and through.
There are almost no physical geocaches whatsoever within the city limits. However, there are a multitude of virtuals and earth caches. While most of the listings focus on the springs in some way, the first virtual that we visited after Vendome Well was actually interested in the bridge that we just crossed. On our visit to Hillside Spring, we learned that when the federal government had originally purchased this area in 1902, there were 33 mineral springs. But by 1939, just a little over 30 years later, that number had dropped to 19. Some of those springs had dried up, whereas others had joined together. Springs depend on rainfall to replenish the groundwater required to maintain a consistent flow. They are also influenced by droughts, contaminants, and changes to developments outside of the park area, including housing developments. The land surrounding the springs had been a part of Platt National Park from 1921 until 1976, when it was incorporated into the new Chickasaw National Recreation Area. For the absolute best viewpoint of the city, just south of Hillside Springs, you would follow Bison Road past the Bison Pasture viewpoint. From there, you would ascend steadily along the bluff, following the Rock Creek on its south bank until you reach the Cliff Bromide Springs. Here, just a short distance from the parking area, you can enjoy a fantastic view from the Bromide Lookout, looking down on the city of Sulphur below you. After descending down from the bluff, we made our way over to the Travertine Nature Center near the northeast boundary of the park. This nature center serves as the park's main visitor center and contains a variety of exhibits. The exhibits highlight the forest prairie ecosystems of southern Oklahoma, the significant water resources of the Chickasaw National Recreation Area, and teach visitors about the geology, hydrology, and diversity of wildlife and plants you can find within the park. They also contain a variety of live animals, including reptiles, amphibians, fish, and even some bees. Constructed in 1969, This nature center was the last addition to Platt National Park before it was consumed into the Chickasaw National Recreation Area. Unfortunately, none of the trails east of the visitor center, upstream at the emergence point of Travertine Creek, are dog-friendly. Before setting off on this final adventure, I returned Aichan to the car, gave her a nice bowl of water, a piece of chicken jerky, and then set off in pursuit of the final earth cache. While I hate to leave my furry best friend behind anywhere, I must admit it was nice to be able to sneak up on this armadillo without him even noticing I was there. I have no doubt I would have received a much different reaction had Aichan been along my side for this part of the trip. The name of the final earth cache we would be completing is named All About the Water, and that is exactly what it's all about. It provides a very good lesson about the 5 named springs and spring groups within the CNRA area. To complete it, you must visit at least one of the 2 freshwater springs on this end of the trail, either Antelope Spring or Buffalo Spring. Antelope Spring, seen here, is the only spring in the park that has been left in its natural state. No pavilion, no stone enclosures, no pipes, just cool, clear water springing directly from the aquifer. In an average year, Antelope Spring produces 1.5 million gallons of water per day. However, when the aquifer runs low, such as times of drought, the spring has been known to go dry. In fact, it has done so 22 times in the last 100 years. And while I did also visit Buffalo Springs out on the trail, there was a large group of people surrounding the enclosure, so I chose to keep on moving down the trail to Little Niagara Falls. And while this waterfall certainly boasts an epic part of the name, there is an emphasis on the word little here. But if you're not all that concerned with size, there are a ton of waterfalls just like this to visit all along the trails. All told, we burned over half of our sunlight for the day in Sulphur before we actually got on the road and started into our miles. While it felt like that put us behind schedule, in reality, we were still right on time. Most of our targets for the day from there were park and grabs, located no more than about 50 to 100 feet from the car. We would hop out, have a look around, or a sniff around, and use our geosenses to track down the micro. A couple of these park and grab finds proved a little bit more difficult than the others, but with some persistence we were able to make the find all the same. And of course, there was no lack of finds in the What Confused Clark Kent series. Having discovered yesterday that any geocache bearing this name would be located at an old payphone, I stopped at every single one along the route. It is clear that all of these payphones have seen better days, and that all of these logs would see my stamp.
This may be a relatively new geocache in the series, but I'd say it's not a relatively new phone. But at least Clark Kent does not need to be confused about where to find this geocache.
As the sun began its final descent over the horizon, we found ourselves entering the city of Ardmore, county seat of Carter County with a population of around 25,000. For our final stop, we dropped into the downtown area directly in front of the Chamber of Commerce. Tucked in amongst the beautiful parks in this area, you can find the Oil Patch Warrior statue. This very unique Veterans Memorial pays homage to the more than 40 men of Ardmore who worked a top-secret mission as oilmen in England during World War II. These oilmen drilled a number of new wells in the Sherwood Forest area and helped to double the production. Their efforts were more than a significant contributing factor to our ability to ultimately win the war.
And that's it. Another day on the road comes to an abrupt end because I just can never quite seem to beat the sunlight. We've made it here to Ardmore, which is 2 counties shy from the planned ending point of our day. But it's clear, once again, by the time we make it to the next county, the sun's going to be down and we're going to be finishing the day out in the dark. Either way, I know we're going to make it to Lawton tonight because I want to be staged for what we have in store for tomorrow. And it's not really surprising we didn't make it as far as I would have liked today because we spent almost our entire day in Sulphur, which I saw coming right from the beginning. Sulphur had a lot of interesting things to see. If you zoom in on the map there, it is full of waterfalls and scenic destinations. There's actually only a handful of earth caches and virtuals there compared to what could potentially be there with what the area has to offer. We enjoyed as much time as we could out on the trails pursuing every single one of those listings and some that weren't, and had a really good time of it. I'm looking forward to what tomorrow has in store, and I can't wait to bring it to you. Like this video, subscribe to stay tuned for daily updates, and we'll see you out on the trails.